issue of roads and bridges and as it relates to taxes and that sort of thing later on in the conversation. Let's switch gears right now from economic development and talk a little bit about government operations. Most of the public sees the probate judge's position as primarily the chairman of the county commission. And when they think county commission, they think roads and bridges. But there's a lot of other duties that go along with that office. So in order to give the public a little bit of information about how you would handle other things related to that job, let's talk a little bit and ask some questions about just government operations in general. One of the issues that one of the readers brought up was the issue of governmental bodies going into executive session. The question posed from a reader was, describe what you would see as the reason why the county commission or any governing body would need to go into executive session, and how would you handle it when somebody might suggest going into session if you believed it was unnecessary.
When we've entered into executive session, when the city council has, I would say 90% of the time is to discuss the good name and character of someone. We're going to mention somebody's name. It may be a personnel issue. It may be something, a deal we're trying to work out in town. And the other scenario would be, I guess sometimes there's deals that we're working on, and we've done a lot of acquisitions of property and things of that nature. It would probably be with the property owner has said, hey, I don't really want
That's a legal contract that you're talking
about. Yeah,
about.
that we're about to enter into a legal contract, and we need to go discuss it and see if anyone's got any final, like I said, we're not voting. We never vote. It's just discussions is all it is. I will personally say that I know we have entered into executive session a number of times, but we have never entered into an illegal executive session. And also, at the beginning of meetings, we have public comments. This board's out there. I tell people, if you want to speak, you sign in at 1 minute to 6, and you can speak. I've let people who come in under public comments. I've let them actually interact with the city council, and we try to just give everyone at least 5 minutes. We've given people longer than 5 minutes. There are rules. You don't want someone to get up there and talk for hours and hours. But I've actually gotten up and given people my seat and said, hey, sit down where you can sit and talk to the town council face to face, because I'm the executive branch of government. They're the legislative branch. And then we've got the judicial branch. And I'm a firm believer in the 3 branches of government. So I want, when these people come to these meetings, to interact with the town council and tell their council members what their problem is, and then if it's a day-to-day thing that I can address, then I'll address it. And I usually talk to people. But also people want to get on the agenda. We've never denied anyone being on the agenda or made it difficult. I know other government bodies I've asked to be on the agenda. You can't get on the agenda. It's like pulling teeth. I've also know there's a government body in this county where they don't have public comments. You can't do that. And so we do everything perfectly legal, and everything I've done in that regard is going to be translated to the county government. And I wouldn't even be opposed to having, they have 2 meetings a month, do one in the morning, and do the second one in the afternoon, because I know there's people that work and they want to attend.
So that people can attend.
Yeah, so people can attend. I love it. We don't know what's going on. You need to hear from the people. And I think that's what the people feel like. They're being stonewalled sometimes, and nothing's happening here, and this is why it's not happening. They won't talk to us, and everything's secret. I grew up here, and I care for this county. Like I said, my fear is we're in this slide, and we're not coming out of it. But anyway.
Well, along those same lines, you're talking about interaction with the public. One of the readers' questions was that how can the probate office become increasingly more transparent? Readers, there were several questions related to transparency when it comes to records and the use of county funds and that sort of thing. Can you talk a little bit about transparency in government operations?
All these records are public, and if someone comes up there and asks for a record, you're supposed to provide it to them. Now, if they want copies, you can charge them. You set a fee. You let the county commission should set a fee. If it's $1 a page to make it. We've had people come up to City Hall and request stuff. We give it to them. Our financial audits are audited every year We've never had any issues, never. The CPA who audits us, he gives us plenty of copies. Now, I don't hand them out freely, but if someone wants to go in the council room and look through one of our audits, you are more than welcome to. You can look through there and then come in there and ask me questions or the chief clerk questions, or come back to a council meeting and ask questions. I'm proud of the way we've handled our finances. I mean, we've done a lot with the little. I have to tell people all the time, when you go buy something in Choctaw County, there's 9 cents of sales tax. They think when you buy something in Butler or another municipality, well, that sales tax is theirs. That's not true. 4 cents is the state of Alabama, 3 cents is Choctaw County, and in the case of Butler, 2 cents only goes to the town of Butler. Most municipalities have 4 or 5 cents. We're way behind the times. There's places like Thomasville, I think they got 6 cents now. But now Thomasville dedicates 1/4 of a penny of their sales tax to their industrial development board. And that's one way that Sheldon operates as far as when he's recruiting. I mean, they're doing it right over there. And they're like, all these areas are losing a little bit of population, but at least they've got economic development going on over there. But anyway, yes, I'm open records. I'm all for it. I mean, that's kind of a checks and balances to where the government's not a dictatorship. It's a government of the people, by the people, and for the people.
Okay, switching gears a little bit, still staying on the issue of the carrying on of county government. In the context of being in that office as probate judge, you would be required to travel to promote the county, and economic development would be one of those reasons and all. One of the questions from a reader is this: what do you think is a fair amount of travel for that probate judge's position to make in, say, a year's time? And what would be the limit set within the budget for such travel?
I think any training that is required, that's mandated, that, you got to go to that. The locations sometimes, me personally, I think you go as near as you can in the least expensive place. Probably since I've been in office as mayor, for my going on 6 years, I probably maybe $1,000 for 6 years on travel, and most of that travel was all far away places. And the majority of it, I will say, was economic development and trying to deal with the USDA in Montgomery. I have ridden with, I used to ride with Chief Huckabee a lot. We kill 2 birds with 1 stone. The one in Montgomery, we go to the ADECA yard over there and look at stuff. So I try to spend our tax dollars wisely in that respect. But when you see me in my truck just riding around town locally, I pay for my own fuel. And I know people go, well, that's stupid on your part, but I pay for the majority of my own gas. Like I said, my expense reports, if anyone wants to come up there, they can pull them. And my thought process is, even when I'm on the road, I usually feed myself anyway. I'm bad about eating out, so I don't go out and expense a real expensive meal. I just usually pay for it out of my own pocket. But I would have to look and see what training is there. I do think these trips to Washington, D.C. are unnecessary when our state and elected officials come here, especially like U.S. Representative Terry Sewell comes here. She has a town hall meeting. You don't have to go to D.C. to see her. Terry comes here. You don't have to go up there to see Richard Shelby. Richard Shelby comes here. And so they come here. I don't see the purpose of going there. I really don't. They may say, hey, we got a big, huge grant or something. I haven't seen anything productive come out of any of those long trips. But some of these trips to the beach, I think we're stretching. I think we're stretching a little bit. And most people in this county, they pay for their own vacations. I think if you want to take a vacation, you should pay for it. Don't do it. Don't do it at the expense of taxpayers. So.
Okay, switching gears a little bit to just government operations as a whole again. What do you see as the one area where, when you're talking about the handling of government operations, what is the one area that you think needs improving the most?
In the county?
In the county.
I see an attempt to micromanage a lot of things. And from my perspective, and I'm going to use the sheriff's department as an example, I'm very close to my police officers. We have a very good rapport. But I don't stick my nose in their business. I let Chief Thorne run his business just like I let Chief Huckabee. I don't micromanage. The same thing with Steve Harris, the same thing with Wendy Long. We communicate. We email people. Jokingly say he's email a lot, but we communicate on a routine basis. They let me know what's going on. I tell them what I need them to do, but I don't stand over them and watch them. I think we need to let Sheriff Lolly do his job. I think we need to let the county engineer do his job. I don't know what their personnel policies say or how they're arranged, but I know from the town's perspective, and I was involved in doing it, I rewrote a whole lot of our personnel policy, and I did it based on my experience in the private sector, but the council had input. We all had input. We sat there, but we covered all topics, even including, drug testing. And when we do drug testing, I even include myself in that. I had a citizen ask me at Dollar General not long ago, I don't understand why politicians aren't subject to drug testing. I said, I am. As a matter of fact, the computer pulled my name, and it's been maybe a month and a half, 2 months ago, I went. And I didn't do that to say, hey, look at me. I did that to let my employees know that I don't expect me to be under a different standard than you are. If you're going to be drug tested me, and drug and alcohol testing. So I don't expect them to do something which exceeds what I have to do. So that answers the question. Okay.
Let's talk a little bit about other probate duties. Like we talked about before, a lot of times people are not aware that the probate judge also handles other duties, for instance, hearings, commitments, that sort of thing. What are the other roles that are involved in the office from the way you see it, and how are you particularly qualified to fill those roles?
I can learn any job. Just like he has to go to training, I will go to training. He may have a law degree, but they did not teach him how to be a probate judge in law school. I have to, every day, I read Alabama law. I've had myself have to learn Alabama law, and I know how to research and look at things, and we have never had a legal issue, I'll put it that way. And I utilize Attorney Stephen Winters regularly. Judge Armstead has the same capability. If he's got a question, he can always consult with Attorney Lee McPherson. But there's training. I did ask some attorneys about this, and they said, look, they teach you what you need to know. I said, I have a good, when I read Alabama law, I get a good understanding of it. I feel comfortable. I wouldn't do this if I thought, well, I'm going to get in there, and I'm not going to know what to do on a commitment. I'm not going to know what to do on an adoption. I feel very good that I can, when I go to training, I read Alabama law, that I'll make the right decisions. And there's attorneys in there when you're having these hearings, and they can always dispute what you say and say, hey, Judge, we can go back. So I've handled three. I've actually handled the closing of 3 estates, and so I had experience doing that, I've seen the process, and I feel very comfortable. Like I said, I don't think there'll be any problems. I feel confident that there won't be any problems from that perspective.
Other duties of the probate office, of course, have to do with elections. Can you give us a little bit of the insight into what specific traits you think a person in that position needs to have when it comes to the other side of the election process?
We live in a small community, like any other small communities. There's rumors that always go on about these ballot boxes and what's going on at polls, and I've got a lot of phone calls, and I appreciate the people that have called me and I guess consider me an honest guy, and they don't know me, and they say, hey, this is going on with this box, this is going on with that box. I think we need to sit down and meet with all these people and I know they're supposed to go to training to say, hey, this is what you can do and this is what you can't do. But I think poll watchers are probably, I mean, you got poll workers and you got people who watch the polls. I've expressed my concerns to Secretary Merrill, Secretary of State John Merrill, that, I mean, I want a fair election. I don't want anyone down there stuffing a ballot box, let's use an example, to help him. He don't want anyone doing it to help me. I mean, let's hear what the people have to say. Let's have a fair election. And like I said, once again, here we are, I would love the input from the municipalities and the polling locations. And say, hey, what else do we need to do? Because I know some of these poll workers, and they've told me the problems they do have. And if there's poll workers that have problems, replace them. Because see, they have that opportunity when they sit down and appoint. If we got people that have problems, they need to go. I mean, that's my take on that.